Good day, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this group discussion. And now we're going to share our answers and insights of the novel 100 Years of Solitude with the help of the given question. So, with that said, let's get started.
So here's the first question. How does Gabriel Garcia Marquez use magical realism to explore the themes of time, memory, and identity in 100 Years of Solitude? So here is one of our answers. In 100 Years of Solitude, Marquez uses magical realism to explore time, memory, and identity in the Buendia family's lives. Time is portrayed as circular, and memories are shown to be unreliable and subjective through magical elements. Marquez also suggests that the Buendia's family identity is shaped by their relationship ancestral history. So the novel mentioned that it is the history of a family with inescapable repetition, confusions, and progressive decline. One specific example of this seen in the character of Colonel Aureliano Buendia, who is a member of Buendia family and one of the novel's main protagonists. Aureliano is depicted as being caught up in a cycle of political rebellion and violence as he becomes involved in various revolutionary movements that ultimately fail to bring about lasting change, which makes him unable to break free from the cycle. And his repeated attempts of revolution are ultimately doomed to fail just as they have in the past. Marquez also uses magical realism to create comedy and storytelling in condensed and span time. An example of it is the collapsing of all period of history into a single event like the year of insomnia. Others are men kill each other for women, gratification of beauty, and etc. In addition to illustrating the cyclical nature of time, the novel also makes the reader feel sad as they witness one generation come and go. Although we believe that we are new to the planet, we are actually a part of cycle that recycles. We are the last to depart after having lived for millions of years, and more are arriving. Grandmas, however, are the only people who remain consistent, for they remain to protect our traditions.
Okay, let's move on to number two. In what ways does the novel's portrayal of Buendia family reflect the broader social and political changes of Latin America in the 20th century? So here's one of our unified answers. The portrayal of the Buendia family in the novel reflects the broader social and political changes of Latin America in the 20th century in a way that the family is depicted as struggling to adapt to changing social norms, economic pressures, and political upheavals, mirroring the experiences of many Latin American societies during this period. At the same time, the novel also critiques the legacy of colonialism and imperialism, which have left deep scars on the region's culture and politics. So, this is really true, no? Because 100 Years of Solitude is a novel that is deeply rooted in the history and culture of Latin America. And I believe that the Buendia family is its vehicle, Bitaw, for exploring and revealing the region's social and political changes during the 20th century. As we can see, the novel depicts the region's sense, the oppressed people in fighting the hypocrisy of the imperial system and injustice of the ruling people. For instance, the character of Colonel Aureliano and Buendia, and the political conflict between the conservatives and the liberals. So the novel depicts these protest, war, and political violence at that time, and the weight of the history, including the wars, the colonialism, and imperialism, kuno. And the Buendia family provided in the novel and how it shows some of the social political happenings of the past, which we can clearly see how it changes over time. So,
So, this also reflects the Latin America in 20th century. So what happened to the family are the actual scenario during those times. The reflection of wider social and political changes includes those and word spent. So the Bindias family is also hunted the weight of history. The novel portrays the turbulent political and social changes of Latin America, including wars, revolution, and the rise of capitalism. So the Binduias find themselves entangled in these historical events, and their attempts to escape their fate are often futile. So the novel suggests that history is inescapable, inescapable, and that the mistakes of the past inevitably shape the prevents and inevitably shape that prevent and the present and the future. So that's all.
So let us proceed to the question number 3. How does Marquez's use of imagery and symbolism contribute to the magical realism of the novel? And what is the significance of these elements? So here's our unified answer. The first box here is that Marquez used imagery and symbolism helps them to the magical realism of the novel in creating a sense of wonder and enchantment, drawing readers into the story and transporting them to a realm where the ordinary and extraordinary coexist. It adds an element of surprise and unpredictability to the narrative, keeping readers engaged and intrigued. The magical elements also function as a form of escapism. Okay, so when we say magical realism and good, okay, it is a style of writing fiction that is deeply rooted in reality. So describing it in such detail that the overwhelmed readers don't question supernatural things that casually enter the mix. So what the author did is that he applied symbolism and imagery to add flavor and also to explore or go beyond the basic understandings and phenomenon. Moreover, um, uh, so um, it also helps create a fantastical and dreamlike quality of the novel. So that is why these elements carry symbolic meaning, representing larger themes such as the power of imagination, the fleeting nature of time, and the cyclical nature of history. So yeah, and the other one or the other part will be discussed further by the next, yeah, the one who will answer.
Thank you, Miss Arnis. In addition, by describing in detail what the things look like, and he used things that symbolize something, which makes it look like a fantasy because it is unreal. Marquez uses imagery and symbolism to make the novel more meaningful and appear mythical. Everything was like pieces of a puzzle that, if you put them together, you would find the answer. And that's all. Thank you. So question number 4, how does the novel challenge traditional notions of time and causality, and what effect does this have on the reader's experience of the story? So our answer is the novel challenges traditional notions of time and causality by presenting events out of chronological order and emphasizing the cyclical nature of history. This creates a sense of timelessness and highlights the idea that history is constantly repeating itself. So after reading, I also noticed that the novel is characterized by a series of flashbacks, flash forwards, and dream sequences that are often presented without any clear indication of their temporal context. So, as a reader, it leads me to a sense of confusion, which requires me to have a deeper and more thought provoking reading experience as I forced to grapple the novel's unconventional structure. I don't know if it's just me, but honestly, I didn't read the novel only once or twice, but I read it numerous times because I am used to reading novels that have more conventional narratives and follow a linear timeline that makes it more comprehensible compared to this.
So, memory also plays a crucial role in the novel, with characters often recalling past events in vivid detail, blurring the boundaries between past and present. Present. Magical realism is employed to depict memory as fluid and subjective, shaping the characters' understanding of their reality and their identity. So, diba, throughout the novel, the characters' memories are portrayed as malleable and influenced by their own perceptions and biases. For example, when Jose Arcadio Buendia becomes obsessed with discovering the secrets of the universe, his memories become intertwined with his delusions, blurring the line between reality and fantasy. Similarly, katong namatay si Remedios, her memory becomes idealized and mythologized as they recall her beauty and purity in an exaggerated manner. Memory also plays a crucial role in shaping the characters' understanding of their identity and heritage, as the Buendia family's history is retold and remembered across generations. It becomes mythologized and distorted, with each generation adding its own interpretations and embellishments. This highlights the importance of memory in constructing individual and collective identity, as well as the potential for memory to be manipulated for political or personal gain. So that's all.
So let's now move on to question number 5. Next slide, Talihon. Question number 5. How does Marquez's use of language and narrative structure contribute to the novel's magical realism? And what is the impact of this on the reader's understanding of the story? Next slide, please. So here's our unified answer. The impact of understanding the novel itself is an achievement, for it is complex yet a satisfactory piece to read. The use of language is elegant and formal. Moreover, Marquez used deep words that have deep meaning, and the narrative structure is not easy to follow. The impact of this novel on the readers is that they might not correctly interpret what the writer intends for them to understand if they read the text only once. So they will need to reread it until they get the point. The readers might think that this story is only about fantasy or myth because of the things and events the writer uses. But if they think deeply about it, they will get the point that it tells us the real happenings of the past in
Latin America. There might be cases where where the readers have different interpretations of this work due to their capacity to understand.
Okay, so the narrative structure of magical realism in the novel also challenge the reader's perception of reality, prompting them to question what is real and what is imagined, and encouraging them to interpret the text on multiple levels. So, as like Rika said, we need to reread again the novel in order for us to better understand what's the novel all about, and what's the totally message. So like sa nangagi nga I mean answers, dili lang dapat ka usa ka duha or katulo, dapat more on pa until nga ma-discover kung unsa gyud ang kuan. So dili siya it's all about lang war, it's not all about love, but it's all about experiences and through the um history. So that's all.
So that's all for our group discussion. Thank you, everyone.